Hello, Bl'Artagnan here, bringing you another Humbaba Lufenia. Bringing Hope, Arciela, and Emperor. Trying to do a no BT, no synergy run that doesn't use Serah, Terra, or Ultimecia, the three most popular characters in the event. Also not using Aerith, although in this case, not because she's not popular, but because when I tried using her, ended up not quite making the turn count with her a little bit of a turn inefficiency thing with her skills sometimes. Not that you want to be using Aerith skills. But this is a fun opportunity for me to try using Emperor without his burst. Mostly because I don't have it, but also because, if you have burst characters, usually you want to use those over the ones who don't have it, and since I don't have his, he ends up not seeing a whole lot of use. He's pretty fun, though. I like the turn rate stuff they did for him. That really helped out a lot. Probably third best magic damage dealer in the game right now, at least non-elementally. And speaking of non-elemental things, I also really appreciate Hope in this stage. He's another very popular character for good reason here. I gotta admit, I slept on him a bit when he came out, thinking he was pretty skippable. The buff extension neat, he's a fine unit. But I thought to myself, well, what's the point of the magic imperil? We can just use elemental imperils. And now that they're starting to really kind of clamp down on elemental imperils and shut those down, his value's really shot up, I think. Since he's really the only decent unit right now with like a weapon imperil type stuff. Orin, Irvine, and Fran aren't the sort of units you want to consistently be bringing to Lufenia. Then rounding out the team, we have Arciela, who's here to provide, auras, utility, the usual thing. No HP silence, but her speed debuff is useful, as is her fast cast for kind of battering Emperor slightly on off turns. You saw the regen there from the fast cast. So I actually, in my previous videos, I misspoke. I didn't quite understand the fight and thought that the delay, like the frame turn attack that these guys do if you don't stall them out at their appropriate thresholds, I thought that was like an instant kill, massive delay attack that they do. Turns out it just dispels and hits kind of hard. So you can actually tank it if you're prepared for it. Not that you should be looking to do that, but it's doable. So just kind of issuing a little correction there. I misunderstood that part of the fight. So you can see here, we got kind of lucky. Maybe it's not so much luck, but we got both of them pretty far out for this first threshold. This team doesn't have a whole lot of tricks to stall them out beside Hope, so a lot of it's just going to come down to AA usage and call usage. In a pinch, you can spam Hope skill 1 or something, but you don't really want to be doing that if you can avoid it, just so that you can pace it out a bit better over the course of the fight. This team also doesn't have a whole lot of ways to set up Emperor Wombo combos with his EX and HP+. So, you take them where you can get them, but in the meantime, we're kind of playing it fairly, so to speak. We don't have any delay shenanigans or a burst weapon to really take advantage of it. Now you can see here, we just stalled exactly the right amount for both of them to unframe right before they attack. I think it's 8 actions you need to take, so just kind of count up as you're doing it. So they're going to be hitting us pretty soon. Something you'll actually see me do right here is it here or is it later? I think it's here. So I'm pretty sure I actually intentionally don't battery Arciela here. I want her broken to push her behind Emperor, because I know his EX is coming up, and with that means what I can do here is knock B back with the EX so that I can get another HP plus or whatever on B. That's what I mean in terms of kind of taking what you can get. You have to sometimes be a little bit creative in terms of the break order stuff with Emperor if you're not using a really dedicated delay team or speed down team or something. So here we go. Some decent damage there. And again, putting Arciela back in her fast cast stance so that ideally Emperor can get some regen on off turns to make his traps hit a bit harder. And also just to batter him on his on turns, I guess. Either way, fast cast is really good. I actually found with this fight, it's interesting because it's not restrictive in the sense that, like, you can bring quite a few units to it, but I am finding that if you don't bring at least one of the top, let's say 5 or 6 units, it's pretty challenging to do with a purely kind of, you know, super hipster offbeat team. I'm sure it's doable. There are going to be people who have runs that use completely wild things, but it does seem to have a pretty core group of units who you need to bring at least one of. Serah's a great example of that. You know, Hope. But it's kind of interesting how it's like, it's not restrictive in the more traditional sense, but it does have like a number of key enabler units that really make it work. It could be, honestly, it could be that most fights are like that, and I just haven't noticed, but that's been my observation with this fight more so than others, is trying to be more creative here doesn't seem to be rewarded quite as well as I'd like. So something that happens here that I'm pretty happy about is you'll see B has the traps all stacked up on him. He's almost below 50%. So what I'm hoping here is that this is going to bring him to exactly 50, and it does. The reason that's nice is because now the traps are actually going to push him below 49%, and this means that his turn is like way, way back there, nice and far away, so we don't really have to worry about B messing this up. A, on the other hand, we still need to push down. We're using stone to get the delay, and also because if we use it after they go below 49%, we're gonna regret it. Knowing that I was going to use stone there was part of why I didn't attack A with Emperor previously. Refreshing Emperor's LD there. Feels sad to do that when they can't be delayed, but what are you going to do? Stalling a bit for A. Trying to decide here if I want to drop Jack on them right now. I decide to. I was on the fence about whether I wanted to use the Emperor Friend before their 29% or after it. I decided I was hoping to get like a nice delay chain to get some breathing room. You'll end up seeing that the way I play it, it doesn't quite work as cleanly as I hoped, although it still gets the job done. Now they're almost unframed. And keeping track, that should be 1 or 2 more actions. So we're going to go ahead and bring in the Friend Emperor now, because we want them to unframe before the burst trap goes off, so we can get the bonus delay on it. And so we see B is unframed now. We just want A to do that as well, so we're going to go ahead and use the Squall Call. Yeah, Squall Call. Now this is going to be a little bit unfortunate. Maybe I should have waited to do this in hindsight, because you'll see there, because of the Jack call, we don't have room for the EX trap to fall onto them, which would have been really nice. Probably would have been better off just waiting a turn to use my Emperor's EX. And you can see part of why maybe I should have waited until they were below 29% for Friend Emperor. I brought him in because I knew he did so much damage that I didn't want to waste any of it bringing him in too late. But the trade-off to that, it ends up being that a lot of the delay utility that he brings gets kind of wasted once they go below 29% and frame their turns. There's Ishtola Call, a nice little re-break there for some additional delay room. And I'm not using her L debuff right now because I don't want to take up the space on their debuff slots. I want to be able to fit all 3 EX debuffs on them from Emperor. So there's the one guy. I'm holding off on the summon until they're all until they're framed, so we can use that summon to help stall them out. Now, use the AA as part of that. And this isn't going to put the debuff on them, but it is going to deal some decent damage, which is why I used it there, and recover a use of skill 1. I still have one more use of Arciela's LD, so I'm not super worried that I'm not going to be able to get capacity break on them at this point. I figured the Jack Call, the Hope Call, and Emperors are more important. The speed one maybe could have been dropped, but Now it's summon time. You'll notice something weird happened there. It looks like A's turn actually moved up right next to the summon. I'm pretty sure B was supposed to go before A, so I'm not really sure what happened there. Some kind of shenanigans that I'm not thrilled with. Because we also, I'm pretty sure, pushed B into the framed mode sooner, so A just kind of jumped up, and you'll see that ends up kind of messing with us a bit. Because B is now no longer framed, but A is closer than he was before and is still framed, which is not great. And when I say not great, what I mean by that is he actually doesn't lose his frames, so I was a little bit put off by that. And I have to check to make sure. You'll see, okay, we're about 5,000 health over the HP damage limit for the round, so quickly heal up Emperor Friend, and luckily that is enough that we're able to make the HP requirement, but oof, it's scary. Go ahead and throw that Jack Call out now. Quickly help Hope's overhead a little bit, and then use his EX. So I end up going for the AoE break here, even though we don't need to refresh the thing. Hilariously, it actually breaks them out of order and ends up being kind of a waste of an LD. I mean, it still damages them, but it doesn't get the turn break that I was hoping to get. So for similar reasons, I'm using his LD now. Because they're late enough, I'm not worried about the buff running out, so this is just going to buy us a bit of breathing room. Get that Unceasing Dread up there to boost her damage. Now finally get the 5 stacks on Hope again. And the AA, not because I'm worried about hit point damage, but just because it's so late in the fight that we can use the stat boost. It's kind of annoying. Now that I put capacity break back on, I forgot that it's actually not going to let his EX trap be on it. Just making sure my turn and hit point count's okay. This is also partly because the recording is about to jump briefly as the time runs out. So yeah, my recording ran out, and you missed Arciela getting sent to the Shadow Realm through Humbaba Breath'd, and Hope spamming some skills and using his EX. Kind of annoying. I really wish my phone could record more than 27 minutes of non-sped up footage, but we still got the clear pretty handsomely. It's a fun team. Emperor is fun to use when enabled properly. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the run. Maybe hit the like button if you did. Consider subscribing for more content like this, and I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Adios.